Well, I think this is a really great event to really share the history of Japantown, because San Jose Japantown, not many people really know much about it. Not even San Jose residents, so to have a book to kind of shed light on the history, especially since it's probably not as popular, as well known as the San Francisco or the Los Angeles Japantown, it really helps spread that history and spread the message about San Jose Japantown.
And what, from your heart, how do you feel this day? Is this an amazing day for you?
Oh yeah, it is. I've been helping around this area for years since I've been growing up, and so it definitely means a lot to me, and especially to help younger people kind of get that information as well.
How do we feel today?
We feel great. Actually, I was part of the book committee, and we're just so excited that after all this time, we finally got the book done, and we're having this launch party.
It's a great book. I'm just amazed at, I didn't expect it to be that way. It's really an amazing book.
And what does it feel in your heart when you see the history put down over 100+ years?
Well, I'm learning a lot about the community as well as about my own family, and saw a picture of my grandfather a few times in the book.
That's
and
awesome.
We're both in the book, so it's really fun to look at and really educational.
Fantastic. So what do you think?
What do I think? I think that since 1999 and all the visits to our house to do all of this wonderful book, it's nice to put a nice little ending to all of this.
You never thought it'd get here, and here it is.
Yes, it was a long time coming, and it's quite a book.
And what would you like to say to your wife?
I think she did a wonderful job in those last few months. I did my best to stay out of her way. And,
Right answer.
I think that the results came out okay.
Looks
very
wonderful.
Well. I think she did a great job, so I'm very proud of her.
Thanks, Brian. Take care.
Hi, we're here for the book signing and the event to kick off the book here, and so I hope it's a good one.
What does this mean to you when you see something like that in print? It's over 100 years with
It's about
history.
time they came up with one, and so I'm glad they did.
What is this temple? What does this whole setup mean to you?
Well, it's just
for family.
It's just a lot of folks that have spent a lot of years in town, and they get to be celebrating here.
So just open up to one page. Just open it up there and just see what we got going. Oh my gosh, look at that.
Wow.
Fantastic.
Well, I'm going to sit down and take a look at the book and all.
Do it. Enjoy.
Appreciate it
Thank you.
much. Yeah.
Can I ask you guys a question? As you're looking at these pictures, what comes to your mind? What comes to your heart?
She's like, wow, she knows all these people. Yeah, but I can't think of their names.
She knows a lot of the people.
Oh, really?
We grew up here on 5th Street.
Yeah, we used to live close by.
Yeah.
What does this mean to you when this book is put together?
It's really nice. I mean, it brings back a lot of memories.
As we're competing with the music.
And the taiko drum, too.
And your thoughts?
The same. It's really great. I think it's a really nice thing, and this event just turned out really nice, too.
Lovely. Oh, is this a basketball team?
Yes. That should be the Z.
So can you name some names of people that are up there?
Well, there's Moffat, and there should be Akizuki in there somewhere. I can't picture it where. Akizuki. I can't read their name. There's quite a few. It'll come back to me later.
big round of applause, first of all, for you getting here, and for the reason why we're here, for this book today. Big round of applause, that's huge. We're here to talk about a book that took 15 years from inception to product, but it's actually been many more years than that as far as what it required to get this book here. We always talk about legacy and the footsteps before you, and that's what this book is all about. That's what today's all about. I'm going to read a lot of those words for upcoming speakers. But 130 years as far as the official timeline for Japantown and San Jose, and that's an important aspect. These are not small town little novelty items that pop up. This is a major part of a major city, and a major cultural center for today's technology, Silicon Valley. Now, we're honored to have a number of people who were involved in this project, some from the very start, some started before the start of the project, but everybody here played a very, very important part, no matter when they joined and no matter how large they think their piece was. And that includes all of you who are here today, everyone who's ever purchased the book, everyone who's told each other about this book, and those who we will tell about this book as well. We're honored as well, because just like Japantown, the city of San Jose is often mistaken for being something that it's not, and often not given credit for things that it is. San Jose is a huge, huge part of the Bay Area, regardless of what the postcards of the Golden Gate Bridge and Transamerica Building will have you know. Now, we don't have the San Francisco Street rice aroni, but we have some very special rice dishes right here. So we'll talk about that as well. Now, documenting in large part the many accomplishments that San Jose has had throughout the years, and well, doing a lot of other very official duties, we'd like to first call on our first speaker. Our first speaker is the official city historian for the city of San Jose. How many of you are aware that there was an official city historian? All right, there you go. How many of you know now? Yeah, very good. I hope you remember this gentleman, because it's a huge part of how we pass on information and how we give credit and how we go back and check our roots from time to time to keep us on course. Now, this gentleman is the Honorable Judge Paul Bernal, currently serving as a Superior Court Judge for the County of Santa Clara. So it's a face and a name that you'll also want to remember. You want him to remember you with a smile as well, just in case you ever see him outside of this room at his office. Now, his interest in history began in the 4th grade, and he went on to major in history at Loyola Mountain University in Los Angeles, LMU, just a bypass where we did the crew there in the canal. He was a co-founder of San Jose's Preservation Action Council, PAC, and was chairman of the county's Historical Heritage Commission for a decade. He became the city of San Jose's second official city historian after the passing of Clyde Hubble in 1998. So please, ladies and gentlemen, welcome the Honorable Judge Paul Bernal, the official city historian of the city of San Jose.
Thank you, Mike. A very long time ago, there was a young lady who had a family that lived on the edge of town. And she went to gather flowers in the nearby forest. She got lost. She came upon a cottage that she saw deep in the forest. Perhaps she could ask directions for how to get home. She went to this house and knocked on the door. Nobody was home. So she proceeded to go inside. Unbeknownst to her, the homeowners had just left. They were the Papa Bear, the Mama Bear, and the wee little baby bear. They had left because their porch was too hot, and they wanted it to cool off, and they wanted to take a walk through the forest, which they did. She entered the kitchen and found that porch that they had left. And as you all know, Goldilocks tasted the first bowl and said, "Oh, this is too hot." She tried the second bowl. "Oh, this is too cold." And she tried the third bowl and said, "This is just right." And then she went around the house checking out the furniture, the beds. Some are too large, too small, too soft, too hard. And that story, to me, is the story of Japantown. When Ralph asked me to speak at this event, I said I'd be thrilled to. And we had a little discussion about why is this Japantown still here when so many Japantowns are not? And the answer is because of the Goldilocks factor. This Japantown was not too large and not too small. The ones that were too small just kind of vanished. The ones that were too large were taken over by other interests as time went by. This Japantown was in the right locale. Because it started out as Chinatown, under the guidance of John Heinlein, it was put off-center from the downtown, as opposed to so many other Chinatowns and Japantowns, which remained in the downtown cores of their cities. And so as the downtown core got rejuvenated, perhaps now 8 times since the original Chinatown, most cities would just wipe out their Asian cultural centers. Or, as in San Francisco, they get too big and they're taken over by other interests, other ideas, other developments. So we are blessed that this Japantown was off-center, and it was the right size, and it was the right time, because it withstood all of the erosion that usually happens to Asian cultural centers in the western United States. And I really think that whether it was arson or it was not very smart building of stoves and wooden homes in downtown San Jose where the Fairmont Hotel is today, where the original Chinatown was, that actually was serendipitous that it moved the Chinatown out of the downtown core. And it was also serendipitous that John Heinlein would welcome the community on his property, which is right here. And so to me, we have a real gem. Not only for the people who are Chinese, Japanese, Filipino, and the Caucasians who live here, not just for the neighbors, but this is a treasure for all Santa Cruz County and San Jose. And isn't it fabulous that the people who work here and love it here and have businesses here and have a love for their past and their community have made Japantown this special place. Part of that is preservation. Part of that is remembering what came before and saying we have an identity. And this book, Japantown: A Journey, is further evidence of that love for this community. I cannot tell you how shocked I was when I read this book. I've been listening to Ralph talk about this book for about 15 years now. He's been on for about 8 years. And I knew he was working on a book, but I had no idea it was going to be like this. I honestly feel that this is the best book I have seen and read in the last couple of decades on local history. It has the most fabulous photographs, the most interesting stories. The content is outstanding from my story perspective. And the typesetting is good, the layout is good. I mean, they knocked it out of the park. It doesn't hurt that it's got very nice thick paper and that it is bound very nicely and it looks great on a coffee table. That's an added bonus. But to me, this is the Bible of Japantown and its story, much like Clyde Arbuckle's book of San Jose took on that project and did such a fantastic job. This is a comprehensive time capsule from the beginning until today the gentlemen who worked on this, the women who worked on this, the people who supported them, the museum who saw that this was a good idea and supported it, all the people who supported this project over the years, and the people who are going to buy this book and enjoy it. To me, it is just a fantastic bringing together a lot of historic information in one place, one book, that anybody can learn about this neighborhood, this community. And as it says in the introduction, it's not necessarily the geographic limits, it is the spirit of the place. And it is very, very strong today. Congratulations, and thank you.
You heard it, folks. Quite an impressive feat. Judge Bernal finished the whole book. I say that not because of your reading, but by the fact that I looked at that book and I said, that's a book. People are asking Curt, how long is that book? Curt said 5 pounds. I don't even know if they know the page, so all I know is there's little weight marks on the way down. Hope to read 4 more ounces today. Next up, after Judge Bernal gave such a wonderful telling of the story of Goldilocks and how it relates to Japantown, I think that's very fitting. Because Goldilocks' story talks about porridge as well, which gives you a nice feeling inside. And that's what Japantown is all about for me. It gives me that nice feeling of home. And that's what it means to, I think, a lot of people here. And for one of the people who also reminds me of home, because he can actually remind me of my family and home verbally by telling me stories about them, is the next man I'm going to call up here. Jimmy Yamaichi is a native of San Jose and lived in the Bay area, where he and his family farmed, like many of our families have, as a background here in the Bay Area. At age 19, he was incarcerated at Hart Mountain, Wyoming, and Tule, California for 3 years, and upon his return home, he began a career in construction. And what a career it's been. He's founder of the Japanese American Museum in San Jose, and currently serves as outreach speaker, curator, historian, in art, artisan for any of the projects that we have, going above and beyond at every step of the way. So now going above and beyond once again, as he sees this wonderful project come to fruition, we're going to ask him to do a little more work. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a round of applause as we call to the stage for our Official History, Mr. Jimmy Yamaichi.
I'm sorry, Mike, he didn't do your homework. I knew his great-grandfather. He said, I know nothing about your grandfather. I didn't know anything about him. So I said, ask me every time. So, come on, Mike, let's do your homework next time. I said I'd like to get a representative to Roy and PJ to play the taiko. I see they inherit a little baby taiko. That's a real adopted taiko. So, PJ and Roy, please stand up. Come on, Roy. People like that make history in San Jose. They're the one who started San Jose Taiko over 40 years ago. And remember, they were pounding in here, making so much noise, we had to kick them out. You're making too much noise. I'm sorry. But still, they're hanging here and play for a long, long time. I grew up in the San Jose area a few years back. Spent all my lifetime basically on the farm, and knowing many people through San Jose and the various area, which makes us feel good to see all of you who come here to learn more about our past, what we did and what we didn't do, but we made it, and really all, I think, after the camp coming back, we've cultivated a very good life. And these states did a tremendous job, and on the book shows about these states working back and get started in these states and so forth. So I'm glad to be part of the program, and for the few years I'd like to give credit to one person. We're hoping to break ground on this book on the Japantown Centennial
back in 1990 and late 1980, Helen, Minetta, and I, we kind of talked about, let's write a book. Because Wayne Kanemoto donated a bunch of pictures that obscure the old pictures, and we got enough pictures and stories that we could start. But as time went along, Helen retired from school, then she went on with a group and was a secretary. Then she lost time, and so it got dragged on. So over 25 years ago, this book was talked about. And thank you for all the people that worked on the book and make it possible today to see the finished product, and we're very, very proud. As the judge said, it's a great book. Thank you very much.
Jimmy, you're not the first to tell me to do your homework. But Jimmy's right. Jimmy is my resource. Because when Jimmy and I started getting to talk to each other, I've been fortunate enough to be involved in a number of events, including the honor that Jimmy got from the Emperor of Japan. For those of you who don't know about that, ask him. He'll make sense. Jimmy talked to me, and I knew he knew my dad from having worked on places like this temple, where Jimmy's artwork and hand craftsmanship can be seen in many spots on the exterior and definitely felt in the interior. But also, he knew my grandparents from when they had their shop downtown. And then he let me know that he knew my great-grandfather. And this is why I asked my dad about it, and that's what Jimmy's talking about. I asked my dad, what do you know about great-grandpa? And my dad said, I don't know. Ask Jimmy. So we are very lucky to have local treasures like Jimmy looking out, looking in the rearview mirror a bit to help us talk about where we've been. And then also Jimmy's descendants, Jimmy's daughter Lynn has a global school over here, and they're helping plant the seeds for what will be and continue to be in the future. So we're looking in both directions from multiple perspectives here. That's why we have this gem of the Japantown as well. Next up, I'd like to call someone else, also named Jim. Jim Navarrete. He's a local businessman who opened Navarrete Photography Studios almost 25 years ago. Now he's also a co-owner of Nikkei Traditions, Beer Papa's in Cupertino, Jimbo's ice cream shop, and any other ideas, he'll open up a shop like that if you have one for him to start as well. He's a businessman. He's an icon here, and he's also a mainstay for this project. Jim's mother, Kay Navarrete, recently celebrated the 50th anniversary of her Shiseido business downtown as well, and that's a huge feat. Give her a round of applause for that. That's good. Business right here in this, Jim's official title is Project Lead, but I just consider him sort of the man of many talents and one of the anchors for Japantown as well as we continue to move forward. Please give a round of applause for Jim Navarrete. I was wondering if you were going to help me up the stairs.
Thank you, Mike. And I want to challenge Mike, maybe after the program here, to challenge you to a book lifting contest. I think I could do about 10. You think? Well, thank you all for coming. And, you know, a lot of people have wondered why it took us 15 years to complete this project. You know, we pretty much volunteered all our time, and it took us a long time to collect all the material, to interview everybody. But, you know, I would say that, you know, during the 15 years, like everyone else, you know, life happens. There's been some new members to our family here, and there's been unfortunately, some people that have passed away. Even some of the people that we interviewed have passed away, unfortunately. But just life things happen, and some of us have been in and out of the hospital and just prolonged the project. But I gotta tell you, everyone really stepped up this last year. Boy, we just, night and day, that's all we could think about. That's all we did was work on this project. We wanted to complete it. And I wanted to introduce a couple of the other members of the team here. Come forward. Put you on the spot. And June Hayashi here is our editor, and we put her through a tremendous amount of work day and night and staring at the computer all day, and she's put a lot of work into it, and we really appreciate your help. Thank you very much. And next to her is Janice Oda, and she did the layout. And she's also been very tirelessly helping with this event and distributing the books, and I don't know where she gets her energy, but she did a beautiful, beautiful layout for us, and we really appreciate it. Thank you so much, both of you. So yeah, after this last year, we really had no idea what the book was going to look like and how big it was going to be, and all the beautiful colors and photos, and everything just turned out. We were just so happy with the final product, and we hope that everyone enjoys it. And thank you so much for the support by the community, donating photos and helping us identify people in photos and things like that. We really appreciate everyone's help, and it's really, really a community book, and we hope everyone enjoys it. Thank you so much.
Jim's holding with that bat. Let's see. I don't look out because there's a gentleman here wearing these San Jose Spartan Judo sweatshirts, so he put us all to shame, I think. I laugh because you're saying all these tireless workers, and everybody worked very hard on this project, I can imagine. But I don't know how you did it with all that energy, says the man with 4 businesses. That's a lot of work by everybody here. Next up is a gentleman who I had the pleasure of meeting at one of the San Jose Nikkei Matsuris that was down here a few years ago. There's a really cool book on the table being sold. It's called Asahi to Zebra, and A to Z. How cool, a book about the sports teams here in Japantown, Japanese American stuff. And so I started to look at the book and thumb through it. And I said, oh, this is really cool. I'm going to buy this. And he didn't know I was going to buy it, and he started talking to me. This gentleman started talking to me. Turns out it was Pearce, the author of the book. And he started to tell me things like the blockbuster, the cash register, or home plate, I think he said. And he was showing me the orientation of Japantown, which now I can see because of that map as well. It gives me a great idea of the history of it. But it brought to light, as we were talking about, the whole idea of what transformation Japantown has seen, and also what has remained consistent. So then I was given the gift of one of those books. So I now tell you, Ralph, that I was going to buy it. Give it to me. Thank you. Passed up the royalty on that one, and also passing the royalties on this book as well, as Abby had mentioned. Now, Ralph is a third-generation San Jose, and has had a lifelong love of history, as you'll hear, a continuing theme. Now, he's currently a library clerk at the San Jose Public Library's California Room, and this is his second book on local history that he talks about, featuring those local sports teams. Now, Ralph has appeared on a show on our station, which we just released this year. It's called Asian Pacific America with Robert Honda, which is a wonderful addition to our team. And Ralph appeared on a couple of interviews, and I think we're going to get you a chapter for a few more, including sports and other aspects to San Jose's history. An incredibly invaluable resource for us to all call upon. And as we're talking about this book that we're releasing today, or launching today, also remember that he cares for all the books that are over there at San Jose's library as well. So this man is consistent throughout with his love for the word. Please give a big round of applause to one of our authors you see on the front of the book, Mr. Ralph Pearce.
In the mid-1980s, I lived in an apartment near 5th and St. James Street. And I would often walk up here to Japantown and have lunch at the counter of the Golden Day restaurant up here. And one day I found myself in the middle of a group of people that were being given a tour of Japantown. I remember long before I had any involvement with the preservation of Japantown history, standing in front of the old kitchen supply building on 6th Street that was lost to fire some years ago. And I remember standing there, looking at the building and looking at the layers of paint that were peeling away so you could see the bare wood underneath. And I remember looking at the old wooden door and its worn handle and its rusty hinges. And I wondered to myself, who had passed through this door? And who had worked in this building? And what were their stories, their lives? And so our book is really about appreciation, respect, and gratitude. Not just for those who came before us, but ultimately for each other. Some have wondered what my connection is to Japantown. Well, my son's grandmother came to this country from Japan, seeking a better life, and she even taught Japanese language here at this church. And so I'm related in that way to my wife and to my son. But more importantly, I'm related by spirit, the human spirit. San Jose is my town, and you are the people of my town, and I appreciate, respect, and am grateful to all of you. And in closing, I'd like to thank Roy and PJ for their very warm Matsuri welcome, our wonderful MC, Mike Inoue, our encyclopedic Japantown historian, Jimmy Yamaichi, to my friend, Judge Paul Burnell, who altered his Thanksgiving holiday plans to be here with us. To our project lead, Jim Nagareda, for introducing me to the project. And to the book's primary author, Curt Fukada, who invited me to contribute as a co-author. To Janice Oda for the very beautiful job that she did with layout and design. And to my dear friend Jean Hayashi for her truly excellent editing. And thank you too to our publishers, the Japanese American Museum of San Jose. Thank you all.
So even at the book launch, we have some really wonderful stories of how people come to be affiliated with this project, how they learn about this project and the project itself. So everything has a story. And unfortunately, in my business, in the news, we get about 45 seconds to tell that in-depth story. Sometimes they'll stretch it to 2 minutes if it's a really good one. But this one here spans 130 years at its base. And that's why this wonderful work is something that Judge Burnell was talking so fervently about. And that's why we've got wonderful resources such as Ralph Pearce to join us as well as he came on board. Now, we talk about everything being sort of like family in Japantown as well. And this next speaker actually is like family. He actually is family. He's my dad's cousin. We loop it all around. So then we say he's my cousin because he's supposed to be my dad's cousin. And then we just say it's Curt. And people know him. And they know who we're talking about. Curt Fukada currently teaches video and photography. He recently created video tutorials that are available on the Adobe Systems website. Adobe being a huge building just off Highway 87 in San Jose. And the name here, whenever anybody sends you a document that you can't open, you gotta get that Adobe thing. It's free. It's also the thing that does that photoshopping in the Pacific American Center, and was invited by Edward James Olmos to photograph for the Americanos exhibition by the Smithsonian National Museum of American History. Curt's photography has been exhibited throughout the United States, Mexico, and Germany. He's worked as a professional photographer, technical writer, a cinematographer since this project started. His family's grown and doubled in size. families here today, by the way. Very proud, like Monica over here, his son Richard, my daughter Eileen over here as well. So they have sacrificed, I'm sure, in all these many months of pursuing this wonderful work now. And so now we're here to see this work. But first we want to hear from the man who started, I think, in earnest, and in some ways, this project. Curt, I want to call you to the stage where we can read a little bit about it in the beginning of the book, but I want you to talk about this project as it means to yourself. Please give a round of applause.
Thanks, Mike, and thank you to JAM for organizing this event and for publishing the book, and thank you to the San Jose Buddhist Church Metzlin for letting us use their facility. I'm going to start off with a few thank yous, and I'll try to be as fast as I can because I know you've been sitting for a little while here. And, you know, if my grandmother were in the audience and she heard me say, well, I'm going to do some thank yous, she'd go, oh, as I start reading off the page, yeah. So I'm going to try to be as fast as I can so that you can all kind of observe something. But anyway, I want to thank, first of all, Jimmy Yami. You know, Jimmy was the first person who, when he heard about the project, he actually supported us. He came and he connected me with people who were involved with Japantown and took me out to do oral histories. And at that time, Jimmy thought the project was going to be a book. And actually, in a little while, I'll tell you that it actually was not supposed to be a book. But anyway, as you can see, 15 years later, Jimmy got his way and it did turn out to be a book. Anyway, thank you, Jimmy. Of course, thanks to my family, Monica and my children, Richard and Eileen, for putting up with me and being so patient all these years that I've been doing the book. And I'd like to thank the team members. You know, I'm going to repeat a few things that Jim Nakareva has said, but I want to thank, of course, Ralph Pearce, my co-author. And Ralph brought a lot of focus to me. When Ralph joined the project about halfway through. He brought a lot of skills, his ability to write and research, and focus most of all. I mean, to a great extent, the book was completed because of Ralph. I mean, he was just magnificent. And then he brought along his friend June, who did a lot of the editing. I mean, we had a couple people start up the editing, my wife included, and one of my cousins, Connie. But June really did the lion's share of the work. And I want you to know, yes, there are some goofs and errors in the book, but please don't blame June. You know, we only gave her a very short amount of time to do the editing, and quite frankly, I've noticed a few things got snuck in after she completed her editing cycle, so, you know, she's not to blame. I'd like to also thank a couple people who you might not know were involved with the book. Eileen Fukada, she was involved with the team for 1 year and did a lot of research and went on a couple of interviews with me. And then I'd like to also thank Ward Shimizu. Now, Ward was supposed to be the original author. Ward was going to write the first half of the book, and I was going to write the second half of the book. And Ward and I, in the mid-2000s, went out and we did a lot of researching and a lot of interviewing. And unfortunately, Ward was going to relocate to Nebraska and got involved with other things, so we had to drop out of the project. But I always threatened that I would keep his name on the book, and there was a very specific reason for that, because, you know, sooner or later, as you go through a book, you're going to wonder, gee, why did they include that? And I wanted someone to blame so I could say, you know, I told Warren not to do that. And then, you know, there's so many people that go, hey, they didn't include my uncle, and hey, they didn't include grandma or grandpa in the book, or they left out this event, or this you know, business. And I can always say, you know, I told Warren we should have. Anyway, so Ward got his way. He got his name off the book. I'm going to see it. Let's see it in the next
Jim is just, you know, when we were trying to come up, we came up with a project lead at the end for Jim Margaret, but, you know, I would just call him the man. He was the person really responsible. He's the glue that held the project together. He was the person, you know, being here in Japantown, he was the one who had to answer the question, hey Jim, are you still working on the book? When is the book going to be finished? You know, he was the one who was the front man. He answered all the questions. And he really protected me so that I could just kind of sit in the back room and write and not be bothered. So, you know, I owe everything to Jim. Now, before I close, I wanted to show you this. This is a prototype of what the original Japantown project was going to be. It was going to be a CD-ROM with a little virtual reality tour using QuickTime VR. And, you know, like you can go on Google Street View and navigate through the streets. Well, back in 1999, you could open up a little QuickTime movie and go through Japantown and click on the building and out would pop a movie. And it would be someone like Dr. Ishikawa talking about the history of the building. This was the original project. And as we started to research and information started coming in, we realized, oh my gosh, well maybe we better make the booklet in this CD-ROM 8 pages to cover all the information. And then it became 16 pages. And then it became, okay, let's do a 32-page booklet with a little sleeve in the back for the CD-ROM, and you could see where the story's going. It grew to 64 pages. And then finally in 2003, my wife, who's much smarter than me, said, look, no one wants a CD-ROM. Just leave it. And that's what we ended up doing. And you know, as big as the book is, we had to cut out nearly half of what we had written. I mean, and every time we cut something out, it really hurt. It really made me cry. I mean, I would love to have kept more of Faye Nakanishi's story about when her parents were off being migrant workers. They paid the Buddhist church to keep her here. And in 1924, there was a little dormitory where 4 boys and Faye Nakanishi got to live at the Buddhist church. I mean, Faye said that she didn't even think that it was mentioned in many people know that there was a dormitory here. And I also would have loved to have kept in Toby Yamamoto's story about how he and his mom and his sisters were coming home from picking tomatoes on Memorial Day and then realizing, hey, Japantown's a little quiet. And Toby told me that he went by the church and saw the notice and said, oh my gosh, we were supposed to be gone, we were supposed to be evacuated. So they had to rush around, and they got Mr. Ames front row and Kenny Lowe to pile them into his Cadillac with solid and drive them to the assembly center. But, you know, stories like that, there's just so many more that need to be told. And I really hope the book inspires a lot of people to do more books, do other projects, and, you know, interview people. And you know, as you go through the book, if there's something that you feel like, wow, they sure got this wrong, please, you know, do a project, write a book. You know, I really hope this really keeps the ball rolling. You know, and you know, when I was doing all the interviews of people, of Denise, I was really surprised how amazing. Like they could tell me, oh yeah, on this corner was this store, on this corner was this store, and so was the owner, and this in 1933 this happened. And I was going, my gosh, how could they do that? I could barely remember what the corner store was when I was growing up. And I think, you know, for the Nisei, because they were growing up at a time where you're not bombarded with images and information, they had to rely on their memory to, you know, get around. And, you know, nowadays, of course, you ask me a question, I'm okay, let me see the answer here on my telephone. But, you know, I really feel that we're very lucky Ralph and I and the team were very lucky to be able to talk to people at a time when we still had a direct connection to the beginnings of Japantown. And, you know, as I was talking to people, and they were remembering Japantown, I would see this very special light come on in their eyes. And it's like, you know, I think each of us has a place that has a special meaning for us. You know, a place that, you know, kind of takes us back and removes us from our daily lives. And, you know, for some people it could be Japantown, for others it might be something else, but it's a place that, you know, brings us peace and takes us home. Thank you.
Pearce, Fukada, Ralph, to name the front, hear all the stories about everybody involved, and it's not just the names for the production or for the writing or for the putting together, it's those names that Curt talks about. It's those names that you know about. It's all the names you'll come across throughout the stories that you've been telling. We're going to first give a couple thank yous. We're going to some logistics from Dr. Yamamoto as well. First of all, those of you who got the postcard, you notice in the bottom on the corner on one of the pages, it says Union Bank. Union Bank is a bank. They also put these, oh, they're on the back. Go ahead, wait a minute. Look at that on the back. Union Bank gave us a map for this particular purpose. And they gave us a badge as well. Because this is a very sizable, weighty book. They gave us the very strong ones. So these could be used to carry anything like, you know, a bowling ball, a spare tire, or this book. So very useful. Thank you to Union Bank for the grant, the bag. You're up to please support them as well. Always support our community. And they're just around the corner. But they're also just around the corner, probably from your house as well. Another thank you to San Jose Buddhist Church, Betsui, where you're sitting right here, a huge part of this community, but also a huge part of this project, and the reason why we're here today as well in this facility. Thank you to San Jose Buddhist Church, Betsui. We talked about my friend Robert on the show. It's on Sunday mornings at 5:30, I think it is. Also on channel 186, which is our second Comcast channel. You know what? It's a little early. I get up at 2:30 in the morning on weekdays, and 5:30 on Sundays too early for me. So if you happen to miss it, go visit the YouTube channel as well. It's called Bay Area Proud, and they have interviews with Ralph, with Curt, and also with Aggie. And they did an outstanding job, given a very short amount of time. They were able to convey a lot about this project. Go check them out and watch for other upcoming segments, including one with Jimmy, I think he's going to speak over there. And we're going to have other features, I think, hopefully talking about the sports in the Asian American community, the Japanese American community specifically. But right now, I think we need to get some logistics from Dr. Yamamoto. So Aggie has some thank yous, and you also have some logistics you want. So everybody listen up carefully. I'll be back right after the Aggie comes.
Thank you, Mike. You've heard the adage, it takes a village. Well, it took a whole community. Because in addition to the production team that you met, and all of the volunteers at the museum that are helping us today, there were also 10 organizations. And the idea was, let's get together and support each other in terms of pre-sales and book distribution. And at this time, I just want to tell you what this whole community support system involved. The Community Youth Service, the Japantown Community and Cultural Center of Northern California, it's based in San Francisco, the Konko Church of San Jose Buddhist Church with Betsui, San Jose Japanese American Citizens League, San Jose Ninja Youth Foundation, San Jose Taiko that you heard earlier, Silicon Valley Japanese American Citizens League, Wesley United Methodist Church, and UICAD Community Service Center. What a wonderful example of support and just family kind of a feeling with all of us supporting one another. Let's give a nice thank you to them. I also want to thank Mike for taking the time to be with us. You know, every time we ask Mike, he just so graciously accepts whatever we ask him to do. So I need my car washed. And we now have a session for book signing. And what I would like to do is just remind you that if you have a book and you wanted it signed, you picked a card, and there was a certain color and a time on it. So the first group is the purple group, and when you hear this train whistle, you know, Japantown has a train running right through it. It means it's time for the next group. So we will be reminding you each 15 minutes, or sooner if we get through them, that it's time to move on. So right now, in terms of adjourning, Mike's going to just wrap it up. He always wants the last word.
All right, so Aggie, her back teacher, principal, so you gotta listen. When she blows that whistle, you gotta listen. So, I can't tell you that what a red zone is. Not because they've had one all the time, but they know what a red zone is. You don't want that from teachers. You lose your recess. We've been talking about this community, and Aggie's right. I didn't want to wrap it up because we're surrounded by a modest group of people. But we're talking about what family is and family does. My cousin, one of my relatives, he's on this community right here. I just talked to June Hayashi. Her son was my roommate in college for the first couple of years. And so that's like family. We talk about what is your relationship to Japantown, Ralph? Ralph, well, he has some familial relations. His wife has some background here. But also, you had an apartment in Japantown, and he became part of the community. And each of you hears about Japantown. And so I encourage you to take people into Japantown, because this is a very special place, but it's also a very open place. But if you're not from this area, if you don't know the smaller stores and the owners and the history there, it can be a little intimidating. So the next time someone has an opportunity, says, hey, you want to meet for lunch? Yeah, the cool places, the new ones, they're all exciting to take people to. But don't forget about your favorite places right here in Japantown, because those are a gift, but they'll only remain a gift for us if we just keep them going, right? So I have here, I had a collar shirt on. I was going to wear this afterwards, but I have it on right now. This shirt, it says Got Japantowns? Question mark. And it's kind of fun. It's like that Got Milk campaign. My wife saw it at UK Traditions, one of Jim's businesses. And she said, we have a shot of it on the camera. She says, do you want one of these? I said, heck yeah. I said, heck, because my kid might read that. That's children. And it's important. Underneath it says San Francisco, it says Los Angeles, and it says San Jose right over the heart. Now, those are the only 3 Japantowns left in America. And well, Japantowns as far as we call them left in the world. On the back, look at this. It's the shape of California, but if you get a closer look, and I encourage you to do so on DK Traditions. You open today? They're open today. Because those are all cities where we used to have Japantown. So there's only 3 left. This is one of them. And as we've been talking about, and Judge Bernal said, this is a place where the heart is. This is a community. The community exists and persists because of the people who come and go. They flow in and out of the community. It's alive. This is not a place where people come to post for pictures and then they forget about it. It's not just that. It's a pleasant memory for the heart. So you bring people in to Japantown, and we can continue spreading those. Now, I'm a little disappointed, I have to say, because I see so many people who are my age in this room. And I don't see a lot more younger. So, your goal for the next year is to bring those next generations in to town. I see Richard. And my son is in my daughter Penny. Your job is to bring friends. Maybe one lunch date, or maybe one appointment over at Roy's. Just have coffee. Or get ice cream at Jim Rose. And explain that smell, it's the pickles. It's nothing rotten. It's supposed to smell like that. People need to know the sights, the sound, and the smells of this, so it becomes part of their culture as well. And then, like Ralph, it becomes part of the texture of your life. And then someone might look at you and say, well, why do you know about Japantown? And then you explain to them why you have a special connection. But right now, I'm preventing you from getting your very special connection, this history of Japantown, a journey. So Aggie, I think you're going to kick this off. Ladies and gentlemen, remember this is a wonderful gift item for your holiday season. Thank you very much for coming. Listen for the whistle. Purple Blue, first group, get on back there, and our wonderful authors will begin signing those books.
I still have my pen. Thank you. Congratulations. Wonderful.
I was probably the most nervous one of all you folks up here, all so confident and worried. Well, once you get me started,
I talked to you at an event. Okay. Am I holding this plate for you seriously? Even though you're 6 years old?
Japan's a great place to live, not only shop and visit and go to church, live here. We're residents.
We're residents.
Residents, we're the real deal.
People actually live here.
We live here. We're in and out of this town.
Top 3 favorite places to eat. Name them off.
I eat at home.
home is number 1. Right answer.
Kazoos.
Kazoos.
Minato's. And I miss...
Is Minato's on 2nd Street?
Minato's on 6th.
6th Street, okay, yeah, got it.
I like Santo's Market.
And, oh, thank you. See, between us, we'll name 6. So you name 2.
He said home 3 times, though. That's cheating. Thank you.
And Gombe's, I miss, I miss the other owner. And breakfast at Hank's, which is no longer there.
So the 10 and 12-year-old kids that were here, do you think in 50 years they'll be back here telling stories? You would hope so.
Yeah, you hope so.
Yeah.
It keeps growing, keeps changing.
That's the key.
Yep.
Yeah. It's very diverse. I like the word journey because for them it will be their journey. Yeah.
She's right out of Central Casting. She comes up with all the good. This is awesome. I'm just going to hang around you. You know, I'll just go up to people and you say the words for them. You just move your lips.
You got to see his awesome work. He's represented in some of the buildings and the residences.
Oh, seriously?
Yes,
He's
he
being
is.
modest right now.
Yes, he is being very modest. He does beautiful work.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's enough.
So what we're doing is we're building a journey.
Yes, yes. There are probably, I say like in camps, there were 110,000 people that were sent to camp. There are 110,000 books to be sold.
What might you have added to this book?
One of the things is the builder who built my home on 7th and Heading. It was built by a Japanese-American immigrant who started his own, what would you call it? Construction.
Yes.
Your book was the model. I wish I remembered to bring your book because your book was. I didn't realize that. Yes, thank you.
Enjoy it all. You guys have energy for this.
There is a book for you. Thank you, Connie.
domesticated one. Yeah, I got buddies that go to the sports bar with me in the weekend on Sundays, and they go give money to
This is wonderful. I'm glad to be right here talking to you about this marvelous book that you see. Come and buy one. It's a perfect Christmas gift.
Oh my God.
How good was she?
Oh, she was fantastic. I think she should work for an ad agency.
He thinks she does. Thank you. So Union Bank, what did you think of that last hour? That was amazing.
That's amazing. Everything is amazing. And we are moving to Japantown, so next year. We are excited. Thank you.
Good job.
Construction.
Yes.
And he's responsible for building a lot of the homes.
What was his name?
Oh, you're right.
Hold on a second. Never ask a question, Malcolm, unless you think there's going to be an answer.
Let me go get Jimmy Yamichi. He knows.
That was classic. Right. It was a wonderful. What's his name? Oh, I don't know.
I could go get Jimmy Yamichi.
Poor guy.
I could go get Jimmy. He knows. Because Jimmy knows this family.
That's so funny.
Yeah.